And which brings me to one thing I wanted to.
Because some people believe that Munza Munza plays a part of bringing a lot of attention to Africa, because obviously he's Welsh.
Yeah. I believe his pilgrimage to Mecca is what really generated a lot of fuss because of his entourage. Like he came with an entourage of thousands of people.
Yeah.
He shared his wealth wherever he passed by. He even like caused inflation.
He had so much money. Yeah.
Because he left behind so much gold wherever he passed by. So of course it left a big impact. But one thing I wanted to highlight, you notice how before, where you had the royal palace, all of these customs institutions were in the vicinity of the royal palace. Okay? That's why. That's because the king needed to keep an eye
What was going on?
on what was going on. So as to reduce the asymmetry of information. It was...
Boxing, yeah.
That's, did you see that show, White Lines? That was the actor, boxer.
Oh, in White Lion?
Yes, that's the actor, he's Portuguese.
Oh, okay.
That was the actor, the guy was jogging. The boxer, you saw it, the show.
No, I haven't seen it. I'll look it up though when I go back. Is it good?
It's good. It's like about this. I'll show you the trailer later on. But that was the actor of White Lines, yeah.
Oh, okay. White Lines.
Yeah, he was like, he played a bouncer in Ibiza.
Oh,
And he hooks up with an English girl who comes to Ibiza to find her lost brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Major European powers organized a conference in Germany, known as the Berlin Conference, where they laid claim to Africa's land, resources, and people. Okay, and originally the Portuguese, they put forward this proposal in the Berlin Conference, known as the Pink Map. They sought to lay claim to all the land between Angola and Mozambique. So that would have included parts of modern-day Malawi, Botswana, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And
So it's everything here basically.
yes, however, this claim
Yeah.
clashed with British colonial interests in the region.
Okay.
And the then Prime Minister of the Cape Colony and Chairman of De Beers, Cecil Rhodes, would persuade the British Prime Minister, Lord Salisbury, to issue an ultimatum against the Portuguese, telling them to relinquish this claim
Yeah.
or you'd go to war against Victorian England.
Oh, okay.
So King Charles was like, okay, let's not argue over this land. Let's try to negotiate. So he ended up negotiating with help from France the current borders of Mozambique and Angola. Okay, and Britain was free to colonize this region and also territories like Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone. Okay, and this humiliation, because the public was like, hey, why can't the king defend our interests? It made the king very unpopular.
With the King of Portugal.
The King of Portugal, yeah, because he was unable to defend the country's claim. Okay, Portugal basically argued that because we were the first to sail in this part of the world, we have historical rights to this land, whereas the other European powers argued for the principle of effective occupation, meaning that if you have the manpower and capital to occupy the territory and colonize it and build infrastructure there, then you can claim it. So it was with this principle that you had the beginning of the current political map in Africa. Comes, from the partition of land that European states made in Africa during the Berlin Conference. So France laid claim to this territory, and including also Madagascar, Britain, the Italian colonies of Libya and Eritrea and Somalia. You have the Belgian Congo, the French colonies of Cameroon, Namibia, Tanganyika, and Togo. The Portuguese had 5 colonies in Africa: Mozambique, Angola, Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde, and São Tomé and Príncipe. And the only states in Africa not to be colonized were Ethiopia and Liberia. Okay, but virtually all the Ethiopia and Liberia.
Okay. Why is that?
Ethiopia managed to successfully fight off attempts of Italians to colonize the territory, and Liberia had sort of like a protective status because it was a state created by the United States to be home to slaves who had been freed and were willing to return to Africa.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No. So you said that Liberia. So Liberia was basically, it was a place where slaves can return to, basically.
That was the original intention, yes, behind creating that state.
Okay.
Any other questions? I also wanted to talk to you about this monument here, because this, just more of a contemporary note, okay?
Yeah.
This monument, the pattern of the discoveries, features a windrose with a map of the world at the center. Now, this part of the monument was a gift by the apartheid government in South Africa to the Portuguese dictatorship to celebrate the 500th anniversary of the death of Henry the Navigator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Henry the Navigator died in 1460. This was built in 1960.
So it's honoring basically.
Exactly, but there are different, there are other motives, behind this. Portugal, during the dictatorship, had a very good relationship with the apartheid government because, of course, the Portuguese colonies bordered Rhodesia, which had a white minority government under Ian Smith. They bordered South Africa, had apartheid, and Namibia was under South African rule since World War I. Okay, so this part of Southern Africa was the last bastion of white minority rule in the continent, and the regimes had an interest in maintaining the status quo. So they would collaborate by repressing the liberation movements, the ANC, Frelimo, NPLA, ZAPU, ZANU, so on. They also conducted joint military activities together, exchanged intelligence, and supported each other in diplomatic forums and lent each other ideological support.
So are they the part-time government?
Apartheid, yes, government.
Okay.
So this was like a gift. It was a show of support from the apartheid government to the Portuguese. So this is one of the monuments that that was built during the fascist regime that celebrated the Portuguese expansion. Okay.
And where is this?
It's in Belém, which is part of Lisbon, roughly 10 kilometers west of the city center, along the riverside. And it's also where you have the Hieronymite Monastery and the Tower of Belém, two of the city's UNESCO World Heritage Sites.
Okay. Is it far from here? That sounds silly. You just
Like 10-minute taxi ride.
Oh, okay.
Okay, or a 15-minute train ride. Okay. You need to use the toilets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that the end of the monarchy was the assassination of the king.
So the King Carlos or
Yeah.
Charles, was assassinated in 1908 because his regime was unpopular. He was unable to defend the country's colonial interests, and also Portuguese people were tired of the two-party system that existed in Portugal at the time.
What's that? The two-party system?
It's like, for example, in America, you have Republicans, Democrats, and you don't have many other parties who are relevant.
Yeah.
You had something akin to that here in Portugal, where basically it would always alternate between the two same parties.
Okay.
They had become entrenched in the bureaucracy, in the government. They had become corrupt. So people were already questioning the monarchy, the whole system, and wanted something new.
It's a bit like England, basically. Yeah. So then that's the reason why.
Nothing lasts forever.
That's right. And so you believe that's the reason why he was killed?
Yes, that's one of the reasons. Yes, those are the two main reasons. He was unpopular, and people were tired of the system. He was seen as weak, unable to defend the empire, and people were tired of the system.
And when he was basically, you said he was shot, isn't it?
He was, yes, he was shot by an assassin called Miguel Buisa.
Oh, so they know who the assassin was?
Yes, the two assassins were killed on the spot.
Okay.
And some people even make pilgrimages to their graves because they're seen as heroes. Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on where you stand on the issue.
Yeah,
People
no, I
have
understand.
different opinions about the monarchy and about the republic.
And they were Portuguese as well?
The assassins, yes.
Yeah. Was that a picture you had of the assassin?
No. The assassins. I'll show you one of them.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Miguel Buisa and Alfredo Costa were the assassins. Let me show you. Yeah, he was one of the assassins, and here's him after he was killed by the king's guards.
Well, he died in what he believed.
He was the one who shot the king, and I believe this one, Alfredo Costa, was the one who shot the princes and killed the heir apparent.
Oh, wow.
The one on the right.
But they changed history here.
Yeah, I mean they changed it first, yes.
So,
What the theory is that they wanted to kill the king's prime minister. They didn't manage to depose the government or kill the king's prime minister, so they went for the next target, which was the king himself. Okay?
yeah, interesting.